They launched the weapons and came back to safety on our side of the line of control.
Hi folks, and welcome back to the Storm and Cellar. Back on February 26, 2019, the Indian Air Force conducted an airstrike on what was believed to be a terrorist training camp in Balakot, Pakistan. This attack was precipitated by a suicide bomber of the terrorist group Jaish-e-Mohammed that killed 40 paramilitary soldiers and almost 600 other personnel, to include civilians, in the highly contested Kashmir region. There were many conflicting reports on the accuracy and success of the airstrike mission itself. So let's listen to the Indian news release, and I'll give you my thoughts on the weapon systems used and the airstrike itself.
So how exactly did the strikes take place? What were the units which were involved? What exactly did we hit? Take a look. Let's bring you details of the Indian Air Force strike this morning. It all began at 3:30 a.m. this morning. It was a large package of aircraft, the details of which we can now share with you. It wasn't just the 12 Mirage 2000 Indian Air Force fighters.
The 12 Mirage 2000-5s that flew the strike mission are fourth-generation upgraded French fighter jets made by Dassault.
Though they did play the most prominent role, there was a Netra, indigenous airborne early warning aircraft. There were Falcon airborne early warning aircraft.
Netra, airborne early warning, and Falcon AWACS, or airborne warning control system aircraft, both participated in the operation to give threat information and situational awareness to the fighter jets.
We procured these from Israel a few years back. There were 4 Sukhoi 30 fighters which deployed from the Halwara Air Base to give.
The 4 Su-30s are multi-role fourth-generation combat fighter aircraft and was jointly built by Russia and India. The Su-30 has 12 hardpoints and carries a myriad of air-to-air and air-to-ground armament, which made it perfect for this mission. The estimated 260 sophisticated jets are definitely the backbone of the Indian Air Force. However, these 4 Su-30 aircraft were tasked as decoys and successfully drew Pakistani fighters to the south of the Mirages and the intended target area. Had the Mirage and the F-16 gone head-to-head, the Mirage would win out in speed, rate of climb, combat radius, and weapons loadout capacity. However, it loses out to the F-16 in turn radius, which is critical in a dogfight, and has a larger radar cross-section, which makes it more likely to be locked onto and shot by a radar-guided missile.
Top cover for these Mirage 2000s as they went into the attack.
The Indian Air Force IL-78 MKI aircraft is called the multi-role tanker transport for obvious reasons, and probably did an AR, or airborne refueling, with the fighters immediately after they were airborne. Judging by the base map, it seems the Su-30s were possibly based close to the target area, while the Mirage jets were based in the center of India, which had a little bit further of a haul.
There were Illusion 78 air-to-air refueling tankers as well when the strike package went in and came out. What was the target? It was a massive Jaish-e-Mohammed training camp in Balakot, not just in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. In fact, the target was in Pakistan itself. It was located, was the large camp in hilly terrain, which was densely forested, an area where there wasn't a large population around.
The terrorist training camp in Balakot was about 40 miles over the border in Pakistan from the Kashmir region. It was located in a desolate, hilly, and wooded area. In 2004, U.S. intelligence confirmed that Balakot did in fact have a training camp there, and it offered terrorist training on explosives and artillery. However, military analysts also believe the camp was deserted after the 2005 earthquake so as not to be detected from international relief workers in the area. Whether they came back, no one really knows.
The launch point itself of the weapons from the Mirage 2000s was just a few kilometers across the line of control. In other words, the Mirages made a shallow incursion across the line of control, and because of the range of the weapons themselves, they launched the weapons and came back to safety on our side of the line of control. What was the weapon? It was an Israeli weapon called the Spice 2000. It's a 1,000 kilogram bomb, 6 of which were actually used. Now, this is a smart weapon. It glided for nearly 100 kilometers. It was given pre-fed images, which it compared with what it quote-unquote actually saw as it came down onto the target.
The 12 Mirage attack aircraft utilized the Spice 2000 long-range bomb. Actually, the 2000 variant only has a launch range of 60 kilometers or 37 miles rather than the 100 kilometers as reported here. Also, mission data is loaded onto a memory cartridge and loaded onto the weapon. Although no SAMs were present, it can be launched outside of a SAM ring, which is really pretty cool. Once launched, the Spice 2000 will use pre-planned data plus scene imagery to verify the target. This allows it to overcome any GPS jamming, and adverse weather doesn't affect it at all.
And then there were 6 explosions within this Jaish base itself. All 6 strikes were 100% successful, is what our sources are telling us. So 6 targets within this terror training complex were completely destroyed. The area itself was obliterated.
There's speculation that whether this was a successful mission or not. The Indian Air Force reported 6 targets were destroyed within the complex. However, Pakistanis reported that nothing was damaged, and AP reporters were not allowed to go to the site, but did note several large bomb craters in the woods nearby.
Now, the initial blast analysis, this is sourced to the Home Ministry, is that 300 Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists, including a terrorist who was involved in the hijack of the Indian Airlines flight IC-814, they have all been eliminated.
Indian intelligence confirmed 300 terrorists were killed. Now, whether this was correlated to the National Technical Research Organization, which located 300 active mobile phones in the camp prior to the airstrike, I don't know. However, in 2021, multiple Indian news sources reported that former Pakistani diplomat Zafar Halali had allegedly admitted to 300 casualties following the airstrike, but several of the news sources were later rescinded.
How did Pakistan respond? Well, Pakistan did respond by deploying its F-16 fighter aircraft, but by then it was too late. The Indian Air Force Mirages had just gone across, they launched, they returned. By the time the PAF got its act together, it was all over.
Apparently, the Pakistani F-16s did scramble, but was unable to engage the IAF aircraft because they were already RTB or returned to base.
Now, there is a full analysis which is taking place of the impact of the bombs themselves. Satellite imagery will indicate the full extent of the damage which has been caused, but we are now told that there is cloud cover which is expected in the area till the 28th, which means that clear satellite imagery may not be available till day after tomorrow.
This report was that there would be a delay in satellite imagery due to cloud cover. However, satellite imaging from the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, Reuters analysts from the Planet Lab satellite, Worldview 2 satellite, and European Space Imaging all confirmed none of the buildings were damaged the day after the strike. Now, further, India claimed the roof of the buildings were made of corrugated metal and was repaired the next day. Considering the veracity of the Spice 2000 bomb, I can't imagine that the entire building would not have been totally leveled.
What we do know is that the Indian Air Force has detailed imagery of the pre-strike target. In other words, what the target looked like, the Jaish terror camp, and they expect to match this with the post-strike footage, post-strike pictures, I should say, from satellites, which will indicate the full extent of the destruction. They believe the destruction has been complete.
Again, pre- and post-flight imagery confirms no damage to the buildings. Okay, this is a weird mission to say the least. Satellite imagery shows no damage, but Pakistan officials refuse to let any of the news agencies observe the buildings. Whatever the case, I believe the Indian Air Force was justified in the attack. I also believe that possibly some of the spice bombs may have gone astray and landed in the forest a distance away from the intended target. In any case, it was a well-executed mission with all the right assets. My last word is that both India and Pakistan are nuclear capable, and the Kashmir region is and has been a firecracker waiting to go off. As the U.S. and other nations said after the attack on Balakot, both sides need to show restraint, and I agree. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, follow the channel, and hit the little bell down there for future notifications. Share it with your friends, and please leave your comments. I really want to hear from you. So until next time, make sure your takeoff and landings equal.